The candles gutter. The chapel shakes. Outside, the swarm howls, or the dead laugh. The air reeks of incense and blood. But at the altar, a single voice rises, ragged, furious, unbroken. His robes are torn, his armor cracked, his lungs full of smoke, yet still he preaches. In one hand, a chainsword howls the emperor's wrath. In the other, a holy tome burns with scripture, its pages stained with the blood of martyrs. Around him, the faithful rally, driven not by courage, but by faith so loud it drowns out fear. He does not retreat. He does not doubt. He believes, and belief is contagious. This is not just a man. This is faith with a blade. This is the Ministorum Priest. Welcome to Brush and Blood's Halloween arc, where sermons scream, faith burns, and heresy learns why the Emperor's word is sharper than any sword.
Welcome back to Brush and Blood, where Warhammer meets the real world. Tonight, the chapel lights flicker, the incense burns thick, and the sound you hear in the distance isn't thunder, it's a sermon being screamed over chainsword revs. We're painting the Ministorum Priest, the ecclesiarchy's battle preacher, part zealot, part executioner, and entirely unhinged in the Emperor's name. These priests don't just fight, they ignite the faithful, turning fear into frenzy and prayer into war cries. When the enemy advances, the priest doesn't hide behind relics. He becomes one. He preaches in fire, baptizes in blood, and turns every battlefield into a cathedral of smoke and fury. Disclaimer: tonight's episode contains righteous shouting, excessive zeal, and an unsafe amount of flamer fuel. Viewer discretion and confession are advised. So, grab your brush, light your candles, and prepare to paint faith that bites back.
Get it out!
Who are the Ministorum Priests? Ministorum Priests are agents of the ecclesiarchy, the state church of the Imperium. They preach in war zones, lead hymns before charges, and wield both scripture and steel. Unlike chaplains of the Adepta Sororitas, these priests are fragile mortals, but their faith burns hotter than their flesh. They inspire Imperial Guard, Sisters of Battle, and even desperate civilians to hold the line against horrors no human should face. To the Imperium, they are saints in training. To their enemies, they are fanatics who will die laughing as the fire takes them. How does one become a Ministorum Priest? Many begin as seminary students or lay preachers, rising through the ranks of the ecclesiarchy. Some are penitents, criminals, or heretics given one chance at redemption through service. Others are battlefield converts, guardsmen who survived against impossible odds and swore their lives to the Emperor from that moment on. But no matter their origin, they are forged in fire, their faith tested, until only zeal remains. Fun facts and lore. Ministorum priests are famous for leading the charge-roaring scripture as they swing chainswords through the smoke, their voices carrying over the gunfire. Where most men would flee, the priest advances, chanting liturgies so loud they drown out the screams. Some wield relics like eviscerators, massive, two-handed chainswords the size of small men. Their teeth are blessed with sacred oils and engraved with scripture. Against heretics and mutants, they carve a crimson gospel, one verse at a time. When turned against the Death Guard, these blades chew through rusted ceramite and burst the swollen flesh beneath. Each strike is a duel between rot and righteousness, and for once, faith cuts deeper. Others carry flamers anointed with holy promethium, turning plague fog into burning incense. The Death Guard's corrupted armor may resist bullets, but fire is purity made visible. Priests wade through the smoke, setting the plague itself alight. their sermons echoing over the crackle of burning corruption. In the Adepta Sororitas, priests often accompany repentia squads, driving the penitent forward with hymns and fury. They don't just command, they ignite devotion, transforming guilt into redemption through violence. In Warhammer 40k, Ministorum Priests are walking morale engines. Their fiery zeal inspires nearby units to strike harder, fight longer, and ignore fear itself. A priest in your army turns a simple charge into a holy crusade, especially against enemies like the Death Guard, whose slow, rotting advance is no match for faith that refuses to die. When a priest raises their chainsword and bellows the Emperor's name, even plague gods pause to listen. Lore, vignettes, the sermon at Blackspire, on the war-torn world of Blackspire, guard regiments were collapsing under tyrannid swarms. A priest climbed the shattered walls of a cathedral, chainsword raised high. His voice thundered through loudhailers. "The Emperor watches! The Emperor protects!" The soldiers rose, broken lasguns still clutched in shaking hands. They charged, not for survival, but for faith. They died screaming praises, and the tyrannids drowned in fire and steel. One guardsman later wrote, "We did not win, but for a moment we believed we could." The cleansing of Varen's Gate. The world of Varen's Gate had already fallen. Its rivers ran black, its hives choked with rot. The Death Guard marched through the fog slow, unstoppable, laughing as their plague bells tolled. But at the city's heart, one man still stood. A Ministorum Priest, robes in tatters, eyes burning brighter than the pyres behind him. His voice cracked from days of preaching, yet still he screamed into the storm, "You will not have this world. You will not have these souls." He strode into the open, chainsword roaring, flamer blazing, reciting the canticle of purity. Each verse became fire, each prayer a weapon. Where his flames touched, the plague mist turned to steam, and the laughter of Nurgle's followers turned to shrieks. For hours, he held the line alone, a living relic standing against entropy itself. The Death Guard finally brought him down, their bolters thundering, their scythes dripping. But when the smoke cleared, the miracle was clear. The plague fog was gone. Every corpse lay still, no poxwalkers, no rot, just silence. The guard who returned days later found his body still kneeling, chainsword buried in the ground, eyes locked toward the heavens. His Vox recorder was still playing the last line of his sermon.
"The Emperor does not forget, and neither do I."
Real-world parallels fanatics and firebrands. History has always had zealots who stood against impossible odds, not because they could win, but because they believed. Real-world story. The Siege of the Alamo, 1836. In March of 1836, fewer than 200 defenders, farmers, frontiersmen, and soldiers held the Alamo mission in Texas against thousands of advancing troops. For 13 days, they fought under constant bombardment, knowing help would not come. Still, they refused to surrender. Commander William B. Travis drew a line in the sand and offered his men a choice: cross it and stay to fight. Nearly all did. When the final assault came, they fought to the last, not for survival, but for the idea that some stands matter more than victory. That's the same spirit that drives a Ministorum Priest in Warhammer 40k. He doesn't fight because he expects to win, he fights because faith demands it. His battlefield isn't measured in territory gained, but in souls inspired. In both worlds, ours, and the grimdark future zealotry can be terrifying, beautiful, and unstoppable. Faith, once ignited, doesn't ask for odds, only for purpose. Pop culture parallels. You've seen echoes of the Ministorum Priest across fiction figures who turn conviction into a weapon and faith into fury. Van Helsing-style zealots, hunters who wield scripture and steel in equal measure. They don't just destroy monsters, they preach their extinction. Like the priest, their every strike is a verse, every kill a sermon. Video game parallel, the cleric beast from Bloodborne. In that world, devotion to purity turns inward priests and healers twist into monsters born of their own zeal. The Ministorum Priest walks that same razor's edge. One step from sainthood, one breath from damnation. Faith powerful enough to burn the plague or become it. Anime parallel, Father Alexander Anderson from Helsing. A man who fights vampires not with fear, but with manic, radiant belief. Like Anderson, the Ministorum Priest doesn't hope he's right, he knows he's right, and that certainty makes him unstoppable. But the priests of Warhammer, 40k, go further. Their faith is a weapon, a sermon, as sharp as a chainsword. Their zeal doesn't just rally the faithful, it consumes them. Soldiers follow not because they want to live, but because they're ready to die for something larger. In the grimdark of Warhammer, 40k, that's the ultimate paradox, the ultimate horror, and the ultimate hope. Faith so bright it blinds the dark, even if it burns everything else with it. And here he is, the Ministorum Priest. Chainsword, scripture, and faith that burns brighter than fear. Another chapter in our Halloween arc, from alien horrors to plague, and now the fire of faith itself. But even faith meets its echo in the spirit realm. Next time on Brush and Blood, we'll conclude the Halloween arc with something truly haunting, the Aeldari Wraithblades, guided by their spectral master, the Spiritseer. Ghost warriors bound by soulstones, marching to avenge the dead. It's faith beyond life and silence turned into war. Did you know? Some Ministorum priests are said to preach for days without rest, their bodies failing, their voices gone, yet the faithful still swear they can hear the sermon continue long after the priest has fallen. Tell me in the comments, would you rather follow a priest into the fire of faith or face the silent march of the dead led by a Spiritseer? And before we close the tomb on this year's Halloween arc, I want to give a huge shout out to Polly for giving me the honor of painting your Paragon warsuit, your Ministorum Priest, and of course, Ephriel, Stern, and Kaiganil. It was an absolute blast bringing your army to life, from faith and fire to ghosts and gods. Your minis carried this whole arc with style and soul. I'm already looking forward to painting more of your collection and showing everyone what's next from your incredible force. So, Polly, this one's for you. You brought the faith, I brought the brush. And together, we brought the grimdark to life.
Yes! That was cool!
Next time on Brush and Blood. The Wraithblade walks again, bearing the runes of a lost shrine.
Its soulstone cries for vengeance. I will guide it, or be consumed beside it.
Enemy signatures approaching. Orders?
Hold formation. The spirit world